Well, Pastor Abraham, come on up here. Give him a warm welcome like you already did. And we're going to have a little talk. A couple of old sages we are. You know, I was thinking as we watched this video, you know what's crazy is most of the people on this platform were leading us today weren't even born yet when you and I started working together. Adam Richter, our worship pastor, wasn't a twinkle in his dad's eye. He wasn't born yet when we first met. And now we have a whole generation that's seeing what happened. We've been working together for over 40 years. I've been figuring it out. And wow, what a partnership we have. What a partnership we have. And 70 years old, just when I think I can push my wallet back in my pocket and keep it there, you say, we're not done yet, and you pull out some other phase. And when is this going to stop?
Well, you never stop.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
So I just, a couple of different things to talk about. By the way, church, you know how you give to different things, and we've given over the years, and we've given many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably, I don't know, probably over $1 million over all the years into this ministry. But you see tangibly that everything that Abraham comes and talks about actually takes place. I've sent scouts years ago to cut the ribbons for his Bible schools and check out his orphanages. I've stayed in his home. And so you actually, everything that we work together on in partnership takes place. So there's real fruit to it.
Everything happens, you know, like, as he said, we might have given over $1 million. That's many years. But I want you to know, just last year, that your church gave almost $200,000. And what you saw was most of your money has gone into that building, you know. And I have, if you come one day, I'm trying to take Pastor Doug and Karen sometime end of this year to preach to my 4,000 pastors. You need to see them because he has been giving. And, you know, and so it's amazing. When you come there, I have got a wall of honor I have built right at the reception area of the school. And there it says, City Church, Pastor Doug and Karen Bergsma played an important role for this building. Yes.
And so that's all of you. I've seen the plaque because we wanted to show this to all the partners. We didn't do that, but we've played a primary role in what has happened and even in stimulating and encouraging other churches to give as well. And so it's really cool. This is a partnership. I would say that this is the top of our God 401 Grace K that I keep telling our people about. I'm a Christian stockbroker. And this is we have Israel and what God's doing in Israel because of the prophetic thing and its purposes. And then right next to that and right under that at the very top of the list is the ministry to India. And you only had a few hundred churches when we started, and now exactly 4,700 churches. So I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about what actually is involved, like in planting a church. How do you select the pastors, you train them, you set them in the village, but just talk about what's involved in a church plant. You've targeted a village over here when a few people start believing in Jesus, and tell us a little bit what's involved in a church plant.
It's almost like a factory, working and doing things, and you know, the end product, we're putting it all together. Like I've got 14 Bible colleges. So we're constantly training young people.
And those colleges, the reason you have 14 is because of all the different languages.
All different languages.
And different culture in different provinces.
That's right. I can't even speak to my own pastors. You know, that's how horrible it is. I need a translator. Imagine marrying to somebody like that. My wife can speak my language by God's grace. And, so there we are preparing hundreds of young men on one side. And we are on the go doing what we call a mini crusades. It's not like large crusades cost a lot of money. So we are doing mini crusades, about 500 to 1,000 people. So I'll go and I'll preach there. And invariably, we believe God in miracles. Everything, all our ministry is based on miracles and healing. I believe in healings right from the time I started. 50 years down the road, I still do the same. So people are getting healed. People are set free. People give their heart to the Lord. And we baptize them. And then I will bring a pastor who is close by to take care of those people. And by the time we are preparing a young guy to go there, when he is graduating, to go into that place. So when I say a church, we will never declare a church as a church unless we have 25 baptized believers. That should be a
village
minimum.
or someplace.
That's a minimum somewhere. It should have a full-time pastor. And it'll have everything. Everything you have. The only thing we won't have a church building. We'll have youth ministry. We will have Sunday school for the children. We got, cell group meetings around the villages. So we're talking about 4,700 of those kind of churches. That's what we are having right across the nation of India.
And then you said to me, I remember us talking earlier, how you'll take a young man who's in Bible college, and as he's trained, you will send groups of them to different villages, show the Jesus film, pray for people, and kind of evangelize and do a kind of an internship. But then on top of that, eventually you will plant one of those young men after they get married, right?
Yeah,
very wise.
They
very
have
wise.
to get married, or we put two guys.
Or two guys.
Two guys, not one guy running around with all those, sweet-looking young girls. That's not a deal. So either two guys together, or they will get married, and then I move the other guy to another place. So it'll be a team of a husband and wife when they become a pastor of a church.
And how long do you support them before you support them for a period of time with bicycles, food, and stuff until they become autonomous where they can support themselves? How long is that period usually?
It'll be 3 to 4 years. That's when church can become self-sufficient. Some places it'll become self-sufficient in 6 months.
Right.
In some other place, hard area, maybe 6 years. But we'll support them, and we try to buy a bicycle for each pastor. That is their transportation. At the moment, we are praying for 375 bicycles that we need. And there are so many pastors who are needing support. We ask for $2 a day so that a pastor can be supported with $60 a month. There will be a table outside there, and Sister Mary Bramer will be there. You can talk to her, find out more about what we are doing.
Yes, there's a table. We've given a lot of instruction over the year, but many of you still are new or watching online. Yes, my good friend, Pastor Merle Bramer from Resurrection Life in Granville is here with his wife, and she will be running a table out in the foyer if you want more information beyond what we already do. Yeah, the needs go on and on and on. So, it's not so easy in some of these provinces either, because you guys, people don't hear about it, but there's a lot of persecution that goes on. Tell us a little bit like the story of the hill people, valley people you were telling about, and some of the stuff going on.
This is just what happened last month. Just hot from the press, but it won't be shown in the press. That there's one of the states in India called Manipur. It's on the hilly area. And the Christians live on the hills, and the Hindus live on the valley. They had an organized plan of destroying Christianity in that state. Not only in that state, they wanted to try it. They wanted to do that in every state. And what they did, it's a long story. They took away the guns from we need to have a license to have a gun, not like you guys. But they took away all the guns for verification. And the Hindus got the guns from the police and the army quarters. And they went and destroyed 300 church buildings was completely wiped out, erased to the ground, and literally hundreds and hundreds of Christians were brutally massacred, killed, shot, stabbed, stoned to death. And this was just last month. And of course, many of my pastors are in the jail of false cases. And we can't even get a bail because the judge will not let them go. And the whole system is fighting against Christianity. You know, they say there's a bounty on my head and all that, but I made it till 70. Well, but don't think that they can get a hold of me that easily. They don't think that I'm not coming back here. I am coming back here. So we want you to help us. And it's such a horrible thing in India. It's very hard to describe. The hardship that the Christians are going through is heartbreaking.
Yeah, there's so many things that never make the media.
No.
And they're much more important than what the media shows. Those are the real important things. Millions of people facing starvation in Africa and India and Somalia, all these places. Yeah, that story about all the Christians. First they made them register their guns, then they collected and took all their guns, and then they killed all the people. It almost sounds like something that's trying to go on in the United States.
Yeah, that's what
But our
did.
country is not nearly as under the thumb as like yours is. But that persecution is much more rampant than people realize. On the other hand, once in a while, and God tells us, and Jesus told us, hey, in this world you'll have tribulation and persecution, but I think we need to stay on top of and pray for those who are being persecuted. Also, once in a while, God will judge those who are persecuting you. Tell the story about the elephants.
We love that because when God does things, he goes.
We can't take vengeance sometimes,
he goes all the way. You know, like we were just like this. What I said just a few years ago, they did the same thing, destroying all the Christian villages. You know, one after the other. Christians were thrown out. They got nothing. They lost everything, and we were devastated. The Catholic nuns were raped on the streets, and women raped, and men killed in front of their children, and the stories go on, and we were devastated. And we said, God, why this? Who is going to avenge for us, Lord? How come you could be silent watching this to happen anyway? And to cut short the story, you know, there is a little jungle, a forest, about 30 miles away from the city of that state called Orissa, and about 40 elephants live there. They sometimes visit the city, create havoc, you know, break all the trees and, you know, pull out all the little slum houses. And a few months later, suddenly one day, we got the news from the newspaper saying the elephants are gone. How could elephants go? They're not ants. There are 40 elephants. Where did they go? Nobody knew. So anyway, after 3 weeks, all these elephants showed up themselves about 300 miles where the real attack on the Christian took place.
And the central place that had produced a lot of that attack.
Yes,
yeah.
all the attack was in that area, and these 40 elephants just showed up. And they went and attacked every house, every Hindu house,
They flattened
every
the place.
person was just, not only just the houses, they destroyed all their, you know, the trees, the crops, everything was completely destroyed. And how do you know it's God? Because this house is a Hindu house, totally gone. A Christian house, not touched. It has to be God. You know?
You got to laugh about that.
And when God does something, man, you know, he uses elephants. So they can arrest the elephants, can't they? So that's what happened.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's like the old, when they attacked Jericho, Rahab's house got standing, everything else got toasted. And we have to release grace and love our enemies, pray for them, and everything else. But once in a while, God says, vengeance is mine. And it's very interesting, the place from which that main persecution came from, God decided he'd had enough.
Yeah.
And so he sent the elephants.
Yeah.
And
We say, Lord, we love them, Lord, but serve them right. Not very Christian, but, you know.
every once in a while, you got to chuckle.
That's right.
One thing I'm excited about, and I'm constantly sharing with the church, is the way that we have been able to take what God is doing here through our services and through the broadcast of the messages, and we've been able to show that and work throughout India on Power Vision TV.
Yes, sir.
And share the gospel with possibly millions, whoever watches, hundreds of thousands of people get to see what we're doing here, and we're financing that, working in partnership with you.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about how that's actually going to expand in the coming years,
Yes.
some of the things that are going on.
Power Vision is the television we started almost 15 years ago, and I'm involved in that. I'm a kind of a managing director of that company, and one more thing I do, but that is having a footprint of 1.3 billion people on several countries around the world.
And keep talking, but didn't India just cross the line past China to be the largest nation in the world?
We wanted to be number one in something. We could not do anything else. So we became the most populous country in the world, beating China. Can you imagine that? So that's where we are. Just happened about 50 days ago. And we are the most populous nation. And so this has become a very powerful tool, because this is going to be, because they wanted to put an end to all the preaching and the evangelization and all that. And we are going to jump on the top of everything and get into the homes of every Indian and every other person around the world. And I was just telling Pastor Doug yesterday, we are going to if anybody knows about media and all that, there is what they call an OTT platform, which means over the top. That means you'll go over the top of every obstacle and you can get into the homes of everyone. And that is going to expand our reach several times better, and nobody can stop us. And I want you to know that Pastor Doug is one of the well-sought speakers of our channel, and he is speaking both in English and in an Indian language. And the Indian language, they like it better than English. I'm sorry about
do.
that.
It sounds weird to us. I've played it for the church and they all laugh, but your son Ranjit said that over 2 times as many people are touched and respond to the translated program as they do in English.
Well, you should understand that our language is better than English. I'm sorry, I just lost my...
I come against that spirit of superiority. Is it now, did you say there's going to be 4 languages?
Yeah, we're going to go move on. The OTT platform, that means we can start any number of channels. So we're going to go on a Hindi channel, an English channel, complete English channel, maybe a Tamil channel, and apart from what we are having at the moment. So we are planning on working on it.
I remember speaking at a pastor's conference many years ago in India, and I taught on A Better Word, which we sang today, and the 7-fold power of the blood, and it got translated into Tamil and sent everywhere. And I'm just so excited. By the way, watch this 30-second clip of Power Vision TV when the nation it was experiencing multiple provinces, huge, terrible tragedy. They asked me to share a 24-hour prayer for the nation of India. And I'm going to show you this just so you can see proactively what we are doing and how we're involved in partnerships. Show this is just 30 seconds of it. Hello, I'm Pastor Doug Bergsma from City Churches in the United States, and I'm so pleased to be in partnership with Power Vision TV and our program Lifeline that we offer on a weekly basis. We feel so connected to everything that's going on in India and so privileged to be able to be a blessing to you in whatever way we can. And we today, this special day, are calling everyone to prayer 24 hours of prayer that God will hold back the crisis and hold back the pandemic that has hit the nation of India. We feel the pain that's going on in India, and I just invite everybody to spend this day in prayer. So you see, and I'm very excited about this because used to be, and it's not that we won't go to India again, and when we go to India, it has real value too because people see the partnership visibly that we have. But to be able to go and do Skype crusades like we're doing in different provinces, and to be able to be on TV, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, all over, to millions and millions of people from here where God can multiply that like that, the fruit is, it can't be measured. And so I guess what I want to tell all of us too while we're sitting here speaking is, this is partnership and fruit to your account. And last week I preached on don't miss the wedding. And I remember God wants us to make us like Jesus, but he also wants us to be rich in good works. That the fine linen of the wedding garment is the righteous acts of the saints. And I want to tell you, I take this at the very top of my list seriously. In fact, we're going to take, at the end of this service, we'll take an offering for what God's doing in India for all these things. But I'm telling you what, church, don't ever look at Microsoft or stock or Google stock or anything and say, I wish I'd missed out. You are a part of one of the most amazing investments. Very few people get to invest to the degree that we are getting the opportunity. The fruit is immeasurable, and someday it will be fruit, the Bible says, to our account. Amen. Along with that.